Shame! Shame on the NCAA! He's a man!
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. You know that aunt or uncle or like distant cousin in your family that's always on Facebook talking about some random racist thing or some random like transphobic or homophobic thing? You always tell yourself, you know, I shouldn't say anything, they're dumb, I shouldn't comment back, but then you end up commenting back anyways because you're like, you can't resist. Today's video is actually inspired by my very own version of that. I don't even think this person is an actual aunt or uncle of mine. I don't know how I'm related to them. I don't even know if I'm actually related to them or if they're just a family friend, but recently I had a family member, whatever, go on some transphobic rant on Facebook talking about Leah Thomas. I tried so hard to not get into this whole Leah Thomas conversation. I just didn't want to talk about it. I've talked about trans sports so much on my channel. I didn't want to talk about it, but here I am. It's honestly a lot of the same things that you hear on Fox News or, you know, any of these other right-wing media outlets that talk about Leah Thompson and trans athletes and, you know, the trans dilemma, if you will, which actually is going to be quite convenient for today's video. I swear, my channel is going to turn into like a Fox News reactionary channel, and that's not the direction that I want to go, but they just keep making such great content. I have to share this with you guys. Today's video, we're going to be reacting to a Fox News segment about Leah Thomas. This is from the Gutfeld, I don't know his name. It's from this man's show. I think I've included clips from this show before. I mean, it's just not good. But yeah, they had a lot to say about Leah Thomas, about trans athletes in general. So I figured it'd be a perfect video to react to because they bring up a lot of those points that conservatives and the right wing is just pushing all the time. The same things that my transphobic aunt or uncle or whoever it was posting on Facebook. And I mean, who doesn't love to make fun of Fox News anchors? Like, come on. I post new videos every week here on my channel, so if you guys are not yet subscribed, go ahead and do that right now. Go ahead. I'll wait for you. I will wait for you, and I will do my little nail clacky thing for you. You're welcome. My titties aren't out today. Are you proud? Are you done? Thank you very much. With no further ado, let's get right into today's video because we got a lot to talk about. We got a long video to react to. Yeah, let's do it. Okay, everyone, so before we get started, I'm going to take a quick second to talk about today's sponsor, which is Wild. Wild is a brand new, sustainable, natural deodorant brand that is delivered straight to your door. The formula is made from natural ingredients, so there's no aluminum, there's no parabens, it's not sticky or wet or anything gross like that. It also dries instantly, so you don't have to like, you know, walk. Who wants a wet armpit? Not me. Wild is sustainable, so if you are looking to become a little bit more sustainable in your life, this is a great option to do that. You get to pick a case color that suits you. You can even get it engraved with your little name on it. Mine says Samantha. Can you see it? And once you have your case, you pick out the scents you want. My personal favorite being the fresh cotton and sea salt, which I'm going to show you how I put in the little deodorant container in a second. But they also just released a new limited edition scent called Candy Floss, which smells so good. It like reminds me of something, but I cannot put my finger on what it is. You get 2 months supplies of deodorant in these cute little sustainable, compostable little packages. These are made of paper. Ooh, it also says it's vegan friendly. So if you're vegan, here's some deodorant. They actually also have an optional subscription service. So if you want to, you know, sign up for that so you don't have to go back in and reorder all the time, that's a possibility as well. So this is what the case that I got looks like. As you can see, it says my name right there. And what you do is you press the 2 buttons on the sides and the bottom will pop out like that. Take your refill, you pop the little top off, plop it right on top, slide it back in here, and you're ready to go. And then you just turn the bottom and it comes right up. Oh my God, that's so cool. How did they do that? If you are interested in being a little bit more sustainable this year, definitely check out Wild. You can actually use my code LUX20 to get 20% off of all Wild products. So definitely check out the link below and get yourself some sustainable deodorant. You're welcome. But yeah, thank you so much, Wild, for sponsoring today's video. And now let's get into it.
But in all seriousness, you got to hand it to Caitlyn, because it took balls the size of weather balloons to criticize media darling and trans swimmer Leah Thomas, saying biological boys should not compete against biological girls. Now, Jenner says she has no beef with Thomas, but felt the NCAA wasn't tough enough in allowing Thomas to compete in women's races.
As you see, we are starting off today's video on a great note with Caitlyn Jenner. Caitlyn, I have tried and tried to give you the benefit of the doubt. I know you have a lot of money. I know you're kind of disconnected from the everyday trans person. So I tried to cut you some slack, but you've gone too far. She's been going too far. Like, I'll just say that. I am sick of this woman. If you're gonna go around and say that you support the trans community and that you represent the trans community and you want to be a voice for us, blah, 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 you cannot refer to trans girls as biological boys. Like, I feel like this should be common sense. It's unnecessary. People know what trans girls are. You don't need to say biological boys. Say trans girls, trans women. People know what that means. And even if they don't know what that means, you can explain it in a way that's not saying that we're biologically men or biologically boys. You can say somebody that was born male at birth, somebody that was assigned male at birth. There's ways to be respectful and use the proper terminology. You're doing that to feed into the Republican voting base that you need. Shut up. We're not biological boys, okay? That's transphobe language. And I mean, Caitlyn knows that. She knows that's transphobe language. That's why she said it. Secondly, Caitlyn Jenner's a fucking hypocrite. This woman, bitch, in 2016 competed in a women's golfing tournament on the women's side. The women's team golfed from the women's tees as a woman, which, by the way, she only started transitioning in 2015, so she may or may not have even met that 1-year requirement for hormone replacement therapy that the Olympics suggests, that the NCAA suggests. We don't know if she even met those guidelines, and yet she was out there competing against women and saying that, quote unquote, Caitlyn has vowed she will attend and wants to represent ladies at the event. This event is a perfect way to make her announcement to the world that she is on the golf course as a woman and wants to be treated that way. I thought it was unfair for us biological boys or biological men, you're a man, and you're, sorry, I can't. I'm gonna refer to Caitlyn as a biological man because she refers to us as biological boys. I don't wanna hear it. She's a biological man. I thought it was unfair for us to compete against cisgender women or biological girls. I can't. I hate this language. Or is that just for the poor trans people? Is that just your opinion now that you need that Republican voter base? Hate that, biological man. If you have a problem with trans women competing on the women's team, bring it up with the people that make the rules, okay? Like, stop harassing this poor trans girl. The rules for the NCAA say a trans female student athlete being treated with testosterone suppression medication for gender identity disorder or gender dysphoria may continue to compete on a men's team but may not compete on a women's team without changing it to a mixed team status or until completing 1 calendar year of testosterone suppression treatment. Leah did that. Leave her alone. People are being so vicious to her. Literally, like, horrible. Look at this video.
Shame!
I try to ignore it as much as I can. I focus on my swimming.
Shame on the NCAA!
I grade my races and just try to knock out everything else. What did that race mean to you? It means the world to be here.
He's a man!
To my best friends and teammates and be able to compete. Thank you for stopping by.
He's a man!
That is just not acceptable. I mean, I don't know who this person is that filmed this, but I'm assuming you're a grown adult. Act like it.
Thomas just beat a bunch of biological girls in the 500-meter whatever. Honestly, I don't follow it. Swimming is for people too lazy to bathe after exercising.
I mean, okay. He admits that he doesn't even care about women's sports. He doesn't even care about swimming until he can be transphobic. Oh my God.
First, I don't think a dude chooses to switch genders in order to beat girls in a sport that, before he's sucked at. Because cheating with steroids would be just much easier.
Okay, all right, period. I'll give you that one. At least he's not full-on crazy transphobe that's like, people are out here having sex changes to beat women in sports. Like, that's dramatic. But let me tell you, those bitches are real. They're out there.
Remember, as a dude, Thomas was ranked at 462, one spot ahead of her rusty anchor. And now as a chick, she's #1.
Now this is what we refer to in the trans YouTube sports, I don't fucking know, industry as manipulation, okay? There's a lot going on here. Let me try to break it down for you. I need to stop with this. Just tape my hands to the fucking ground. First of all, let me just say that I have not been able to verify where this 462nd ranking has come from. I don't know what race this is from. I don't know where this number came from. I mean, I do know where the number is coming from. I'll talk about that in a second, but I haven't been able to verify the actual race that came from. The only reason that people are bringing it up and talking about it and saying that this is a real thing is because of a letter that was written to the school. Allegedly, 16 members of Pennsylvania's women's swimming team, the team that she's on, the team that Leah competes on, anonymously penned a letter to the school and Ivy League officials. It said, "We fully support Leah Thomas in her decision to affirm her gender identity and to transition from a man to a woman. Leah has every right to live her life authentically." I'm gonna cut for a second. I'm gonna just say one thing. I don't think that everybody that has an issue with, trans women competing against women is inherently transphobic. I don't believe that at all. I think that there are some legitimate concerns about the fairness and whatever, but here's Here's the thing. If you're going to have conversations about whether or not it's fair, you have to, use proper terminology. You can't refer to us as biological boys. And you can't just say, oh, well, she's a man, so obviously she has an advantage. Duh. Like, if I come to you and I give you the data, I give you the statistics done by professionals, and I give you the rules that were written by the International Olympic Committee and the reasonings behind those rules, and you're just like, well, she was born a man. She's stronger. Transphobic. You're a transphobe. There are ways to go about talking about your concerns that aren't transphobic 100%, but a lot of the times when people are talking about this kind of stuff, they are transphobic. The letter continues and says, however, we also recognize that when it comes to sports competition, that the biology of sex is a separate issue from someone's gender identity. Biologically, Leah holds an unfair advantage over competition in the women's category, as evidenced by her rankings that have bounced from number 462 as a male to number 1 as a female. So this is where this number is coming from. It's coming from this anonymous letter that was written to the school, allegedly coming from some of her teammates. I want to talk about all of this. I'm gonna get to all of it. So just stick with me for a second. First of all, when somebody's born male and goes through a male puberty, they are going to have certain biological features that they will keep for the rest of their lives. Things such as bone density, lung size, lung capacity, whatever you want to call it. Things like that are not going to change with hormone replacement therapy, even, no matter how long you're on hormones for. That being said, these things have not been shown to be significant indicators of athletic performance. Currently, studies are pointing to these advantages significantly decreasing after an extended period of testosterone suppression. For example, muscle mass will dramatically decrease. Now, whether that is to the amount that will bring them exactly to where they would have been if they were born female, it's hard to say. However, we can look at where trans women are already allowed to compete and draw conclusions on whether or not it's fair from those situations, from those settings. So for example, the Olympics have allowed trans women to compete since 2015, under the condition that they complete 1 year of HRT, hormone replacement therapy. Since then, one trans woman has competed in the Olympics and she didn't win. She didn't even place. It feels so shitty having to point out that trans women are losing, she didn't even win. Ha! Told you. That feels shitty to say. She still did incredible. She was still at the Olympics. It was an amazing accomplishment, but it's just important to point out that she didn't dominate the competition. She didn't even win. The NCAA has allowed trans women to compete since 2010. That's 12 years, if you can't do math. Leah Thomas is the first trans woman, the first transgender Division I champion in those 12 years. If we truly retained that much of an advantage, don't you think that trans women would be dominating this whole past decade? We've literally seen one trans woman in the past 12 years and people are like, oh, obviously it's an advantage. No, she's just good at swimming. What, fuck. Now to get to this whole 460-second ranking thing, people are bringing it up so much. Like I said, I have not been able to verify this actual ranking, so I don't know if it's real or not. But for the sake of argument, let's just pretend that it's real. Okay, let's pretend that it's 100% real. We can add that into the verified scores of Leah's from before she transitioned. And we can see that she also placed second in 3 races against men in 2019. She also placed first in several other men's races in 2017 and 2016. And additionally, she placed 3rd and 4th against men in other races around the same time. So she's always been a top swimmer, even as a male. After her transition, she still swims very, very well. She's still really good, obviously. However, her times did, I was going to say decrease, but they increased, meaning she swam slower. I'm looking over here because I have notes, but before her hormonal transition, her 500-yard freestyle time was 4 minutes and 18.72 seconds, which earned her 2nd place. This is as a male, okay? 2nd place as a male, her time was 4 minutes, 18 seconds. After her transition, her time was 4 minutes and 37 seconds, which is almost 20 seconds slower. If you're curious, the difference between the male record holder and the female record holder is about 16 seconds difference. So the amount that Leah's performance decreased is actually a good 4 seconds over the average or I guess it's not the average difference, but the difference between the best male and the best female. This whole, she was ranked 462 before she transitioned and now she's number 1, is purposely unrepresentative of her actual performance because they want it to seem as unfair as possible. The numbers don't lie, but these bitches do.
Perhaps what Thomas is doing is a byproduct of masculine selfishness. A dude becomes a man and then kicks the crap out of girls at a sport. It's just piggish.
Like I've been saying, it's one thing to disagree. Disagree? Is that the word? It's one thing to disagree or have concerns or whatever, but this language is just not acceptable. Referring to trans women as masculine for no reason other than the fact that we were born male is just not necessary. This is me talking to the decent viewers out there that do have concerns and just want to, you know, talk about the concerns, because I know that most people that have concerns about trans women competing, they support trans people. They want to, you know, be good allies to trans people. They just have legitimate concerns. This is me talking to those people, okay? It's why I'm making this video. You know, I want to help clear up these concerns that people may have. But all of that is to say that if you are one of these people who do support trans people but have legitimate concerns, this language is not appropriate. You cannot call us biological boys or even biological males and expect us to think that you're coming at us in good faith. That is the language of a transphobe, and you will be treated as such. I mean, like, you'll get a warning or whatever, but like...
I mean, not many women are becoming men and doing the same thing. Or if they do, they lose more often than Hillary Clinton.
First of all, why are people still talking about Hillary? Wasn't that like 5 elections ago? Y'all need some new writers. Trans men are absolutely competing in sports, and sometimes just as often as other men, winning titles and competitions. We just don't hear about them, and that's for a few reasons. Firstly, misogyny does have a real intersection with transphobia. That's all I'll say about that, okay? I'm not getting into it. Figure it out. Secondly, being transphobic is a lot easier to sell when you're claiming to protect women at the same time. We saw it during the bathroom bills when they said that trans women were going to go into the bathrooms and assault women. We're seeing it now when they're saying that trans women are taking away spots and awards and opportunities for real women. And I'm sure we'll see it in the future with some other bullshit that they'll make up. They know that fear is a powerful motivator, and when you don't have science on your side, hell, you need something. Third and last reason is trans people just really don't win that much. Like I said, we've been allowed in the Olympics since 2015. No trans women's won yet. Trans people compete in sports all the time. We lose in sports a lot of times too. I'm sorry, I'll just say it. Just like cis people, okay? We lose just as much as cis people. But I mean, hey, a trans woman losing in sports doesn't really make for a good Fox News story, does it?
No one is saying it's wrong for you to pursue the sport you love. But when you have a clear advantage and for some reason you don't care, it's disrespectful and it's narcissistic.
I mean, no, they absolutely are saying it's wrong to pursue the sport you love when you're a trans woman. But I mean, okay. He's acting like she's developed this evil plan to take over women's sports because she's this big, wicked, evil narcissist. She followed all the rules. The same rules that the International Olympic Committee agreed upon. So like, who are you, Mr. Gutfeld? If anybody here is narcissistic, I think it might be you. The person that thinks they know better than the International Olympic Committee. Professionals who have been hired to make these rules. But I mean, who am I?
Rika Giorgi, not sure if I got that right, a Virginia Tech swimmer, took issue with the NCAA rules allowing transgendered women to compete against biological females. After she missed the cutoff for the consolation final in the 500 freestyle, she blamed Thomas's dominance in the race. In a letter, she claimed their rules are harmful to biological females and that every event transgendered athletes competed in was one spot taken away from biological females, herself included.
Respectfully, like, just be better. That sounds so mean. People are definitely gonna cut that out of context, but like, be better! Like that Kim Kardashian quote, you gotta get off your ass and work.
Get your fucking ass up and work.
Like, if Leah was really getting scores that were physically impossible for cisgender women to achieve, then yeah, I would say, you know, that's not fair. But the fact of the matter is Leah's scores are not even the fastest woman times that are out there. Yes, she won the competition, but by 1.7 seconds. Her time was 4 minutes and 33.24 seconds. The woman's record time for the same race is 4 minutes and 24 seconds. 24.06 seconds if you're curious. Which is 9 seconds faster than Leah was. Leah's time would have not earned her first place in 6 out of the 7 prior years' competitions. Meaning in 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, Leah would have lost to cisgender women. In 2020, they didn't have the competition, but in 2021, Leah would have won by 0.4 seconds. Which brings me to the conclusion that she is by no means dominating the competition. She's barely winning most of these races. I mean, she's still doing incredible, but I mean, so no, Rika Giorgi, or whatever this girl's name is, did not place because of Leah. She didn't place because she wasn't fast enough. Sorry, girl.
The NCAA seems more interested in appearing woke than protecting its athletes. But to make this ideology work, you have to erase the distinction between trans and biological women. That means it's not only women being erased from the record books of their own sports, they're being erased, period. No pun intended, since men can have periods too.
But like, yeah, no, that's interesting. Tell me more. I mean, I guess if it was really impossible for cisgender women to beat these transgender women, like, we already saw was possible, then I guess I would understand the line of logic, because eventually trans women would just beat every single cisgender woman, and eventually there'd be no cisgender women left with titles. But I wonder why that hasn't already happened in the last 12 years that trans women have been allowed to compete. It's almost like the professionals were right. Maybe those advantages do go away after an extended period of testosterone suppression and estrogen treatments.
The NC2A needs to accommodate this. They need to come up with either an open category, they need to make the rules fit so that these girls, and I'm a father of 2 daughters, that these girls don't waste their whole lives and have someone, he's 6'1", right? He's got longer arm reach.
You have to
he's
say
got bigger
she.
shoulders. She's got a longer arm reach.
He was reading a Breitbart
shoulders.
article.
In 2 years, you will see the University of Southern California will have a men's 15th best tennis player, will wait 2 years, identify as a female, play on the women's team, and his serve or her serve will still be 150 miles per hour, where the women's serve is 120 miles per hour. These are astronomical differences that have to be worked out.
Why do they let these dumb fucks on TV? Listen, I am not the misgendering police, but when you misgender someone 3 times in a row, it just tells me that you don't see that person as a woman, you just see them as a man, which I mean, that's fine. You do you see them as a man all you want, but like, you need to understand that cisgender men are not the same as transgender women. Cisgender men will outperform medically transitioned trans women just as much as they would any other cisgender woman. Also, saying that Leah Thomas is 6'1" is just so like not relevant. Many cisgender women are that tall as well. I mean, the record holder, Katie Ledecky, is 6 foot herself. So he is presenting a very clear misunderstanding of the rules for transgender athletes and why they exist. He says that a trans woman will just wait 2 years and then come back and have the same serve strength or serve speed, when that is not supported by any science, any evidence, any data whatsoever. In fact, every single piece of data that we have concludes the contrary. That trans woman's strength, because of her decreased testosterone levels, will decrease. And therefore, her athletic performance will decrease as well. There's just no way of denying that unless you're like, I don't believe science. So no, ugly. Their serve would not still be 30 miles per hour faster than a cisgender woman's. Okay, you're just wrong. And I say ugly referring to his thoughts, not his like outward appearance, because I'm a decent person, okay?
I am a, journalist, so I have some facts here.
Oh, God.
Yeah, before switching, speaking of switching to the women's team, she was ranked 462nd when competing with other men.
Right.
But listen, can I just say William Thomas was
Yes.
one of the best on the men's team. On the men's team at Penn, William
Yes.
Thomas 2 years ago was among the best. So he was among the best swimmers at Penn, 462 in the nation. But
Right.
he did really well as a man, which even makes it worse because he was one of the top men came over. Clearly, he is dominating in the field.
Do these bitches have editors? Do they have somebody that goes over the notes and is like, okay, we're all on the same page, we're gonna do great today? They don't. That's a rhetorical question. I know they don't. The woman goes, she was awful as a male swimmer. She ranked 462 and now she's number 1. And then the other dude goes, oh yeah, but I gotta say he was a great swimmer even as a boy. And she goes, yeah, yes. Like, I'm not tripping, right? They're contradicting each other. He destroyed her point, and then she agreed, and then they acted like it was a win for both of them. Right over their heads.
What is Title IX for now? Like, I don't understand. We put in so much time and money on Title IX, rightly so, I think, in a lot of areas, to give women's sports equal funding, equal scholarships, equal opportunities as men's sports. So do we now cross-fund? Do they give scholarship slots to women for men and men for women? I just think they obliterated Title IX in a matter of weeks, and they didn't think that through.
It's
Giving a trans woman a women's scholarship is not a problem unless you think trans women are men. You can think that I'm a man, but nobody important agrees, so sorry.
Honestly, I am terrified to talk about this. And then I think that when I find myself wishing that I could instead talk about like a literal murderous war, because that feels less touchy to me than a college women's swimming competition, that maybe like the way we approach this discourse is there's a problem there. Because obviously transphobia is bad. I don't doubt that Leah Thomas has had to face transphobia, and I think that's wrong.
Girl. Imagine sitting in a room full of transphobes who are saying transphobic shit and then saying, obviously transphobia is bad. Girl, tell your friends. Tell your friends.
Mentioned the qualifications that, the USA swimming rules, there was new ones that were put into place, not for NCAA, but that she likely would not have qualified under those rules.
Right.
So there are legitimate reasons to have questions about this that have nothing to do with transphobia. And I think it's bad to just blanket label anyone who says anything short of "you go girl" as transphobic, not just for the biologically female athletes, but also for people who want trans acceptance, because there are a lot of people who have questions about this, who have concerns about this, think maybe this wasn't fair, who are not allowed to say that, and that is not acceptance. If anything, that can prevent acceptance because it breeds a lot of resentment. It's just fake.
Okay, so the new guidelines for USA Swimming are pretty much the same as the Olympic guidelines, except testosterone has to be suppressed for 36 months opposed to the 12 months that it has to be suppressed for the Olympic rules. Honestly, if they have substantial data that shows that this is, you know, the time period that is necessary, I would look at it, I would consider it. However, I don't really see why this would be necessary. Like, HRT does not work linearly. Studies show that muscle mass decreases starting at 3 months, and then the maximum level of decreasedness, is that how you would say that? Will be reached at around 1 to 2 years after starting HRT. So I don't really understand the 3-year waiting period. Like, is it just like an extra year to be safe? I don't get it. Where's the logic? Where's the reasoning? I feel like it's more so an attempt at a compromise with people who are, you know, against trans women competing in sports, which I get it, but I honestly don't think they'll ever be happy. I think if the rules say you have to wait 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, I think it's all the same to them. Because no matter how long you wait, you'll still be trans and they'll still find an issue with it. I do, however, agree with not calling everybody who has these concerns transphobic. Like I said before, I do agree with that. But as soon as you say some shit like biological boys or biological males, you're done. You're done. But okay, you guys, that's pretty much all I had to say about this video. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up down below. Make sure you send this video to your own personal transphobic aunt or uncle or family friend, whoever you got. I know you got one. I know you got one of them, girl. Make sure to subscribe if you're not already and you would like to be. Like I said earlier, I post new videos every single week here on my channel. And yeah, other than that, I think I'm going to go. So thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, everyone.